I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about signs my ex is hurting. You know, when you're going through a breakup, somebody's broken up with you, you are probably convinced that they don't even care.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, most people are totally convinced. And remember, that's because they're in that state of despair.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, in the beginning, they are really trying to assert their independence here. And they're really trying to assert what they believe is right for them at that time. So, you know, you're upset, they're upset, it's confusing, it's scary, and everything inside of you says, I can't let this connection end, I'm not going to let this connection end, and you're protesting and fighting and stalking and harassing them. But even though they may have their walls up and they may look like they don't even care if you're alive or dead, which they often look like, it doesn't mean that they aren't hurting. So we're going to talk about this today.
Yeah, so you might want to know if your ex is hurting, not in a sadistic way because you want them to feel pain, but just as Craig was saying, because you want to know that they cared, and them showing that they're also hurting makes you feel less alone in your pain. So we just wanted to bring that up to say, you know, if you're watching this video, we know that you don't want your ex to hurt. We know that you don't want to hurt. You just want to know that they care about you enough to feel your loss and to grieve as well.
Yeah, because at first they don't act like they're hurting. They just like leave me alone, stop contacting me. They could be ice cold. I described the Applebee's breakup where it felt like her love was like a faucet and she just turned it off. Just turned it off. You didn't get another drop. It was like a completely different person. I was like, how could she act like this towards me? We've always had such a great relationship and friendship on top of that. Like it just didn't make any sense. But now that I've been, you know, studying this and learning about it for years, I understand that it's what she needed to do in that moment.
That's what people have to do. And you hear people say, well, how could they be this cold? How could they turn so fast? They have to do it to do the breakup because nobody ever enjoys it.
Yeah. Now, in a lot of cases, you're in a situation, maybe you've been with somebody for years and you've been neglectful, or you guys haven't had a strong connection the way that you used to, or, you know, you're overwhelmed or stressed or depressed. And so you guys didn't have a strong bond like the way you used to. And so it's easier for that ex in that moment to feel like, finally, I'm done with this. I don't have to deal with those struggles anymore, the problems anymore. And they have that separation elation.
Yeah.
Right? Where they're happy. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to talk about the breakup. And when it happens to you, it just feels awful. But, you know, understand that that's just part of the breakup, right? Yeah, at first they're going to act like that or be more likely to act like that, but it's not going to stay.
There's nothing we can say that dissuades anybody who's in that state of being in a state of despair. I will never hear from them again. They never cared about me. This will never happen. And it doesn't make any difference what we say. People are truly, truly in that state. And yet it probably doesn't take too long before things change.
Well, I think a big part of that, Margaret, is that because the dumper is just so cold.
Absolutely, yep. It's like they don't know this person.
Yeah, but they do grieve.
And there's no way not to. It's not possible for them to just forget about you, even though it looks like it in the middle of the breakup. Okay? We're programmed to attach, and if we're with anyone for a while, we can't help but attach. So it's important to remember that.
So what are the signs?
So first is that you might hear from friends and family. So if your ex is hurting, they are going to their support system for help, for comfort. So if you guys shared a support system or had mutual friends, or if their family became your family or your family became their family, vice versa, if they go to those same people, they might tell you. Or if your mutual supports haven't heard from your ex, they might notice that your ex is grieving in some way or is hurting in some way and let you know, like, hey, I've noticed that so-and-so isn't looking as good as before. You know, he looks tired all the time or isn't showing up to family functions, etc. So you might hear some concern on their end.
Yeah, but what we don't want you to reach out to their friends and family to ask how their ex is doing.
No.
That's intrusive. I know, believe me, I know you're going to be tempted or want to reach out to get answers, but it's only going to make them angry, okay?
It backfires, unfortunately.
Yeah. So there's a high probability that your ex isn't going to tell you that they're struggling. You may see them struggling. I can think of a guy right now that he's seeing his ex struggle with this new guy that she's dating, and it's making him nuts. Because she left him, is dating this new guy who is rude to her, doesn't treat her well, mistreats her, and this guy is like going crazy. He's like, why won't she give me another chance? Why would she date this guy who's terrible to her? So he's seeing her hurt, and she's saying it, but she still won't give him another chance right now.
Yeah.
Very unusual
And it's
situation.
very difficult to explain to him that there isn't anything he can do. It's very difficult to talk with this guy when he says, why, I treated her so much better. Why won't she give me another chance? There's nothing he can do. We don't recommend that he break no contact. And yes, he's in a very difficult position, but he has to stay with it. He can't do anything.
Yeah, he's got to see what she wants to go through
Right.
and let that play out.
And I think this is an excellent point because this is a list of signs that your ex is hurting. This doesn't mean that you have to rescue them or save them.
Exactly.
So this is just to increase your awareness on what your ex might be experiencing.
Yeah, you don't want your ex to think that they can break up with you, not want to be with you, and you're going to save them.
Yeah.
Right? This particular case that I'm bringing up, this girl's like saying, well, if I don't have money to get this new house, will you help me? And I'm like, do not help her.
No.
Do not help her.
No.
She's dating some new guy, and this guy is terrible to her. Let her live with that.
That's right. Yeah, she broke up, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So they can either tell you as directly as that woman did,
Mhm.
or they could be sneaky. They could show their emotions through other mediums, such as social media. So if your ex is somebody who is highly emotional and posts a lot on their social media accounts, you might see emotional posts. If you shared a Spotify playlist, I make this example every time because I love it. If you share a Spotify playlist, they might add emotional songs or breakup songs to it that might give you a clue as to what they're experiencing.
Not being a child of the computer age, I would never in a million years have thought of that, but how brilliant.
Yeah, I'll even notice on social media when somebody is posting unusual stuff, it'll catch my eye. And I'll be like, oh, this person's going through a breakup. I see something's going on. I see a lot of people will start posting things that look like they're trying to get attention when they've gone through a breakup.
And it makes sense, especially if somebody who is not vulnerable enough to tell people directly that they need help when they're hurting, they might try to get attention in other ways.
Yeah. Sometimes people will disappear when they're hurting.
Yeah.
They won't go to the things that they like to do. Maybe if they're in a club or an organization or a particular thing that they really enjoy and they just stop going. And it's confusing. You're like, what? They're not doing this thing? That's like a huge part of their identity or something they really enjoy. So that's another big sign that they could be hurting.
And what goes along with this is the possibility that your ex might be depressed. So as a channel that focuses a lot on mental health, we feel that it would be really important to bring this up. And even depression could have been a reason for the breakup that you might have missed or they weren't able to verbalize to
They
you.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
So depression is definitely something that you want to consider. And this is not to diagnose your ex in any way, but just to increase awareness on the signs and what they could be going through.
And what would you look for? You would look for somebody who has less than normal energy and doesn't enjoy the things that they used to enjoy.
Which is like what I just said, where they've disappeared.
Right.
For me, I remember, I'm a big Yankee fan, and right around the time of the breakup with the Applebee's girl, the Yankees, I think, were in the World Series, and I just didn't care. I didn't watch the games, and like normally I'd fly to New York to go to a game,
Right.
But I was just like, I could care less.
Yeah.
So depression.
That's depression.
And even though you may be the dumpee, the dumper can be depressed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They still had a loss. Even if they made it happen, they've still had a loss.
And other things you could look for too is a change in appetite.
Yeah.
Also, if they're not doing as well in work or school, you kind of see them slowly deteriorating.
Yeah.
They could also be participating in self-destructive behaviors. They might.
Margaret, that's a good one to jump on.
Jump all over that one. So somebody might be staying out at the bar all night and going home at 3 o'clock in the morning and then wondering why it's hard to go to work the next day. We've certainly known people to do things like that. Certainly there are people who tend to cut themselves or burn themselves with cigarettes or in other ways inflict pain on themselves. And though it's hard to believe, that provides some kind of a release if you're really upset.
And people would be promiscuous
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
because it's a distraction.
Right. And that's what a lot of the instant relationships are. And you'll have people say, well, I know they never cared about me. They never cared about me because now they're in a relationship already. Well, it may be to distract themselves from caring about you.
And it is really hard too on your part to watch your ex deteriorate slowly in front of your eyes. Somebody that you cared about, you invested a lot into, and you saw them at their best likely if you guys were together. So it can be really difficult. And when they broke up with you, they have relinquished yet another resource for them to get help and for them to be supportive. So it can be really hard to watch this from a distance, knowing that they've made that decision to end the relationship.
And if you're a caretaker at all, of course you want to save them.
Yeah.
But you cannot because they were grown up and they made the decision they made.
As difficult as it may be, you don't want to save them. You cannot save them. If you try to, it just tells them that they can end the relationship and they can still have you as part of their life, and you would be settling for less than what you're looking for. If you're saying, okay, we're not going to be together, but I'm still going to be here for you whenever you need me to, you could talk to me, whatever, then they're going to be less motivated to try and repair it with you.
Absolutely.
You want them to do this with you as partners and try and repair it, and you can be there for them as partners, or if they're at least saying, yes, I want to work on this with you again. But you don't want to just be their therapist and support system if they are cutting you out of their life, because a lot of they'll take advantage.
Yeah.
Many people will take advantage of you.
Yeah. There is one exception that I can think of, and that's if your ex is suicidal.
Absolutely.
So if they are actively suicidal, please get them help. This is not a place to ignore them or to not take them seriously or think that they're being manipulative. Use the resources you can, Suicide Hotline. There are plenty of resources out there too to get help.
And let me tell you, there are many dead people who wouldn't be if people hadn't gotten all tangled up in manipulation. As far as I'm concerned, if you say it, you own it. It's nobody's job to second guess you or figure out if you mean it. So if you say you want to take your own life, I'm going to take it seriously.
Yeah, very serious. That's a tough situation,
Right.
because obviously you want to take it very seriously if they are suicidal.
Right.
And you want to try and get them some help, but you don't want to be consistently there for them
No.
where they're going to take advantage of you.
Well, if you handle it what by acting on it at some point, if you hold them accountable for what they said, chances are they're not going to do it again. Yeah.
Mm.
And I have, in recent months, seen several people who got this one right and did call police when they had to, and congratulations. And sometimes folks say, well, you should have known I didn't mean it. No, I shouldn't have. I took you at your word. It's not my job to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think many of you will kind of doubt yourself. And you'll doubt how much your ex may have cared about you because they've broken up with you. Mm-hmm. And it may get you to even question how authentic your relationship was or your connection was. But ultimately, you really do know your ex, okay? Even though they're acting very differently right now and towards you, it doesn't mean that you don't really know who they are. Yes, it may mean that you didn't know things that were going on with them, that they didn't share with you. Every situation is so unique, but don't let that make you completely doubt your connection with them that you had. I mean, obviously you want to rethink it, but I know you get just so overwhelmed.
And people are so quick to say, well, if they broke up with me like this, they never cared about me, they never loved me. Not true.
So just realize that despite how they're treating you or not wanting to talk to you, it doesn't mean that they're not hurting or struggling with the breakup too. It's just that the dumper experiences that differently, and we talk about that in other videos that you can look at. But this one was just to get you to see some of the signs that your ex is hurting over the breakup. Mm-hmm. So let us know if you like this one. Leave a comment. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you think I can be helpful to you, please sign up.
And Coach Victoria will continue to train with us.
I'll be here.
And eventually you'll be able to do coaching with her as well. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.